so far. Pero parang it's just right for us to see nga din, no? Ano nga ba ang ating aabangan for today? Kasi ang ating mga aabangan hindi rin biro, no? As our standings right now is definitely still fixed, still the same, and we are seeing na meron din tayo mga teams na nagigit-gitan pa rin until now dito, Salvatore.
Kitang-kita mo nga, no? Sino nga ba ang number 1? Virtus Pro, pero pwede pang mabago yan, Mochi, no? Depende na nga lang magiging kalakalabasan ng ating main event. Pero so far, Execration is now technically, no, the team that can be guaranteed the number 1 spot, no? Lalo't-lalo na nga rin na they have this huge round differential upcoming, no? Laban talaga sa TARINGBABI. But let's see, no? There is a possibility that Execration might overthrow this since wala tayong head-to-head rule. So yung 1 to 3 na 1 to 3 na placement na yan, pwede magkahalo-bilo nga mamaya, no? Since Virtus Pro might be able to secure the W, baka sila pa nga ang number 1, but nonetheless, Execration will now be securing at least a top 2 spot heading into the playoffs.
Yes, and by the way guys, hindi lang yung mga teams natin ang pwedeng manalo dito kasi kayo din pwede. You guys have a chance to actually win 100 e-coins dahil lang sa pag-share ng inyong favorite highlight for the week. No? So, ang kailangan nyo lang gawin dito is to like and follow ang ating official Facebook page and as well as YouTube, CROSSFIRE Philippines, and i-ensure na pumili kayo dyan sa kung kaninong highlight ang gusto nyo. May it be from Paul, kay CBN, kahit kanino na na-feature natin kanina, kay Salvatore, pwede rin, diba? At i-ensure na pag share nyo yan, i-public ninyo para nakikita yan ng ating moderators at ma-record ang inyong entry at sa inyong caption, i-ensure na wag nyong kakalimutan ilagay ang hashtag CFS Play of the Week and hashtag CFS Master Summer at ilagay bakit deserve nun maging Play of the Week. And through that, 100 e-coins na ang nag-aabang sa'yo, no? And you will be contacted directly at ilapag nyo din, by the way, ang inyong IGN sa ating caption. So, tatlo yon, the hashtags, bakit deserve nun maging Play of the Week at ang inyong IGN.
Sayang guys, 100 e-coin din yan. Walang libre sa buhay, pero pag nanonood ka ng CROSSFIRE Philippines at nanonood ka ng si Master Summer, nakikita mo talaga yung top 5 plays na yan. Kung ako sa iyo, pumunta ka na sa keyboard mo, mag-type ka na ng mga dapat i-type at kunin mo na yung 100 e-coin na yan.
Totoo, no? Kasi kung tayo lang pwedeng sumali din, baka sumali na tayo dito. Pero
I do think
that this it's already the time for us to actually feature ang ating unang match, no? Kasi it is gonna be TARINGBABI versus Execration. Meron din tayong veteran against Forbid at last but not the least, yung kanina pa nating ina-emphasize to El Clasico is going to be Team Stallions against Virtus Pro.
No? Like ever since the start of Regionals 2024, Mochi, nandoon ka, host ka nun. On-site tayo nun sa high grounds, kitang-kita mo talaga gaano nga ba nagdidikdikan itong STS at Virtus Pro, and still in the big year of 2026, pinag-aaway pa rin natin sila. The level of these two teams talaga just does not die down. No? Pareho nga silang nagmamatsyag at nag-i-ensayo para sa isa't isa, and there is no other way, there is no other scenario na hindi sila pwede mahiwalay, no? Palaging magdidikit yung dalawang yan for an amazing El Clasico, no? Kaya kaabang-abang yung main event na yan.
True, and I wonder, no, kung magdidikit din ang ating laban right now. It is going to be TARINGBABI against Execration, or if at least TARINGBABI can get a fight against Execration, no? So, pag-usapan na natin sila kasi honestly, no, we're seeing kung sino yung mga standard or yung mga consistent gumawa dito so far. We're already seeing some heroics from El Compe. Then, Jahat is already back, it seems like. Buti naman. And even with the likes of Protons and Jimby, no, Salvatore, essential dito para sa ating team. Pero at the same time, malaki ang kanilang kakulangan when it comes to the usapang playbook lang naman.
Especially, no, tulad ni Jimby na kahit IGL nga siya, his headshot per kill percentage is still through the roof. No? 51 is definitely a respectable stat line. So, the Jimby's persona dito sa team nga na to, kailangan talaga i-maintain, and I feel like they have to revolve around Jimby for some calls para dun sa familiarity niya nga. No? I feel like because he knows the bounds of Port and as well as Black Widow, dapat lang naman talaga na naandyan si Jimby. No? Pero I mean, huge shout out to Jangar, no, for having a very good performance nonetheless. No? no?
Shout out.
Despite it being something that will be forgettable for a lot of people, Junggar is still a solid piece na talagang didikit at didikit pa rin talaga ang TARINGBABI. So huge shoutouts to Junggar. Very good player. Hopefully there is a development along the way para mas nakakatakot na nga si Junggar sa mga susunod na tournament.
And talagang mapapa-vibe check din tayo dito, no, sa ating mga players. Seryosong-seryoso kung tumingin, no, especially that they need to make the most out of this last match na meron tayo dito sa ating group stage. And it does seem like they're here for Protons, no, our honorary Daedong brother dito sa kanila. It does seems like they're still really, really locked in, no, and as much as possible, they'll be learning the most that they can dito sa kanilang mga pinagdadaanan kasi hindi talaga biro, no, ang kanilang match history so far.
Oof.
It does seem like, yeah, yun na lang masasabi mo, mapapa-oof ka na nga lang, no? It does seems like that they're still undergoing that adjustment, consider that they just been recently introduced dito sa ating liga and their first time, no, na makatapat itong ating mga PH teams. So, again, for Execration, though, is not gonna be new. But we have a question here for Jimby. What can you say about your Master Summer experience and to your team's performance and fans? Walang sagot dito ni Jimby, no? That was a great experience for us, especially as a public. We learned many things, especially teamwork, and if there are no tournaments in Indonesia, we never knew we could participate in PH. For all fans, especially Indo, we also trying our best to beat PH. Just give us time. And for VH, we're not bots, guys. We're also trying, not just looking for a prize. And I like how he addressed every single one, no? And don't worry, Jimby, take your time.
WJMB, no? For a man that said, even when they lose, they do not lose anything, no? Sinabi niya nga yun,
Yes.
no, Mochi? And I feel like this sums up any experience that a Rosea team will be able to have inside of competing in Sea Master Summer because it is definitely a highly competitive league. And I feel like Rosea is downward spiral in terms of experience because of not having a local league in their region. It is going to take a dip in performance facing off a Filipino league that always had tournaments locally. So understandable on the sentiments here of Jimby, but then again, we are patiently waiting for that jumpstart of TARINGBABI and as well as Veteran and much like any other Rosea team that wants to compete with the best of the best.
Exactly, and it does appear that we may also discuss about Execration as well, because here for Execration, all they've been able to get since the start is just pure W's, except for one, which is the matches, right? But this time, again, 3 of these players were featured in our player highlights earlier on, so I feel like that's already more than enough reason here why TARINGBABI should prepare themselves.
Well, Execration do not need any further introduction, Mochi. The names that these players have speak for itself, and the amount of legacies that they've protected and the ones that they preserved are already good enough to fill a whole void for Execration. But apparently, there is a substitution. Who's gonna be playing? Oh my goodness, the honorary 6th man is going to be playing inside of Execration, apparently because he's just that active. The last time that we saw ZYK play against a Rosea team was Master Spring, if I'm not mistaken, from that series against Raidas. But with that series against Veteran, he actually subbed out in favor of Justin. But he will be playing for the match against Veteran, but because, you know, he wants the spotlight, Mochi. It's the last game of Execration for the group stage. Of course, ZYK wants to chime in and still hang with the kids in town.
Yeah, it does seem like he definitely wants to ensure and show that he's still part of the team, and this is the best way that he would be able to do it here in our lobby right now. I'm still wondering and at certain times being caught off guard by CBN's PovCam because it does appear that he looks like he's lagging, but in fact he is not. That is pretty cool to say the least. What a talent, what a skill. But once again, this is the match history that we have here for Execration so far. Look at how golden it looks here, Salvatore. Just looking so great and pristine, except for that scratch against matches.
Week number 4 has a lot of emergency substitutions, Mochi. I feel like that's a reoccurring theme from MZ to Hodge to now Yotib to ZYK, which is a very huge contrast from what we saw yesterday because it really definitely had an impact. But I feel like with this upcoming matchup, it definitely wouldn't make a difference between Yotib playing and ZYK playing. But nonetheless, we'll be graced by the presence of the former Pacific Makta IGL and now turned Execration 6th man. One question here for CBN.
Okay.
Ano ang next step and target sa playoffs? The man of a few words here for CBN.
Yeah, well, the answer is simply, I hope we could go to Paris. And I I find it a bit funny and entertaining when we contrast the answer of Jimby and CBN. Is that for Jimby it's a whole entire paragraph, and for CBN it's a phrase. I can't even say that this is a
It should be a
sentence.
requirement.
It's a phrase. Yeah, it's like two ends of the spectrum. But at the same time, both of them definitely are fighting for very different reasons. For TARINGBABI, they are fighting for stability, and for Execration, they're fighting for that grand dream in order to fly to Paris. But let us check out who are the players who will be featured in our head-to-head right now, because I'm pretty sure this is actually pretty much a fair comparison. We have Protons and as well as Fall X.
Ochi, come on. Come on, be honest. It's not a fair comparison. Look at the amount
okay.
of gaps in numbers that these two have. Any sort of
Maybe the
category that we can
roles.
throw to Protons, it is always going to be much better here than Fall X. 1.12, 0.85, 0.72, and 0.24. Even the survival rating, Moji. It just means Proton just gets picked left and right. Meanwhile, Fall X, despite him getting picked, he's still averaging a positive KD. I feel like that's where the efficiency lies for Fall X, because he knows how to call and also disseminates any sort of delegation when it comes to the mid round. So that is where probably where the KD dips compared to what we saw from him the year ago, because he has been the primary attacker, but right now he has this huge voice for Execration. So it is understandable that it will take that major dip when it comes to KD. But numbers does not mean anything here in this league, because we like to see the gameplay and how it impacts the team.
Exactly. And most importantly, what were the improvements that they will be able to rack up ever since the first time that we saw them here in the group stage. So let us now discuss what will be the maps that they will be playing on, because I'm pretty sure that this would be impacting what the behavior they will be having, as we will have that priority on to port here from TARINGBABI. Oh, this is gonna be really scary for them, especially after that quick throwback or flashback here from Justin in B site. But we also have Black Widow here from Execration, and we also have Subbase here as our decider. And this doesn't look that good for Taringbabbi, in all honesty, Salvatore.
It's as if TARINGBABI has not learned their lesson after their fight with
Yes.
the Trap inside the Black Widow Mochi. It feels like they wanted the fourth one for the books, and kind of sorry, TARINGBABI, since it's the last day of the group stage, will be throwing out all the hopium and the copium through the window, because this is a map veto that highlights Execration's dominance, because they both have Port and as well as Black Widow. Remember Black Widow yesterday from Execration? That seems to be amazing, but
Yes.
the Black Widow for TARINGBABI yesterday, that seems a forgettable memory. So yeah, Port, something that they prioritized ever since the start of Seamaster Summer, Mochi. I feel like that is an understandable move here for TB. But then again, any sort of map pick for TARINGBABI, I feel like it's just going to be one-upped by any other team here in Seamaster Summer, like Execration. Because Execration inside of Port,
True.
you do not want to challenge any sort of player inside of that map.
I mean, not just Port, but also Black Widow, right? Just given with what we'd seen from Execration from yesterday. Because, again, when it comes to space control and being able to anchor down specific areas, Execration definitely has the upper hand onto that one. Despite, or rather, in the contrary here for TARINGBABI, they just keep on scrambling all over the place and being a bit too on the toes into what might come next or from their opposition. But I do think that it's just right for us to acknowledge and discuss this further as we welcome our casters who will be delivering the action into our match later on. So let us now welcome later on. It is going to be CKO and Bipolar, but now our predictions down below, pretty obvious, just Execration all the way.
Well, why not? Execration. I feel like it is
Yes,
going
I
to be an
feel like-
anomaly or even a graphic error if there is going to be
Yes.
someone that's going to be voting for TARINGBABI. No offense, TARINGBABI. Come on. I feel like you would understand why we have been voting for the opposite end when it comes to your fights, because there hasn't been any improvements since week one. There was up against Acceptance and matches. There was a bit of hopium there that Penjot and Protons was doing it for the Rizea region. But right now, ever since we started week number 4, there has been so much memorable moments for TARINGBABI, but for all the wrong reasons. So yeah, Execration with a clean sweep here on our prediction side, Moche. I feel like that is an understandable sentiment for our casters and analysts.
But I'm actually predicting that here for our community, it would be a bit more lot or have more percentage here for TARINGBABI just because of how many supporters they'll be having. But right now, it does appear that Execration will be getting that grand 94%, which is quite unfortunate. But again, TARINGBABI prove us wrong. We just keep on saying this every single time that we're seeing you guys because we also want to see you guys win. But again, our casters will now be joining us here in our desk. So let us welcome Sticky Frog and as well as Bipolar as we further dive into what we may be expecting here in our match right now. Again, here for TARINGBABI and Execration. Hello, good afternoon. How are you doing, Sticky Frog? And what do you think should be the thing to be focused on here for TARINGBABI? I know that's gonna be quite a lot.
Definitely a lot because Execration just so happens to be one of the more complicated teams when it comes to the macro play, and it was very evident with the series that we saw yesterday, right? Granted that New Mexico was a bit of a circus, but the first two maps really did display, some really good high-level macro. Some might say that, Execration and Fervid actually did kind of look like one of the more, let's just say one of the more Chinese kind of series, let's just say here. It kind of looked like a KZ versus EP match up until New Mexico, of course, and we all know what happened there, the clownery in that map. But at the same time, Execration already displaying that they're capable of playing some, we could say, slightly international CROSSFIRE, but still they are the unproven ones in this one. So I'm going to have to wait until they make an appearance, of course, possibly in Paris. But for TARINGBABI, I think... Damn. I'm kind of stumped, not gonna lie. I don't know what kind of tips I can give these boys, but maybe it's time to get a bit weird, a bit dynamic, maybe in the maps, because if you kind of just play normally in this one, Execration's just gonna roll you over.
I don't know if maybe they're familiar with the trend of don't let them know your next move. I feel like that's already the best way in order to incorporate that intermatch in order to get an inch against the Execration. But how about you, our ex-fan Bipolar?
I feel like it's gonna be intense, right? We have to be honest. That TARINGBABI doesn't even have a chance to possibly even win a map up against Execration. But that was me before Yotib got subbed out. Now ZYK he is here. I might say otherwise, but it's still Execration at the end of the day. Right? And Execration is Execration with the past IGL playing in this game. Now they have a pure IGL, but I doubt that there will be strats here. They're just gonna be dog fighting in port and as well as here on Black Widow. So TARINGBABI, I feel like you can battle up against Execration, especially with Benjahat in. You can just go for aim. But at the end of the day, you have 3 highlight players from before, so they have to be ready.
Yup, they have to be very ready indeed. And here for TARINGBABI and as well as Execration, I'm pretty sure Execration still has that respect, but at the same time, I won't be surprised if they'll just power through TARINGBABI every single round that we'll be having in this series. And I do think that our platform will be ready in a bit, but now let's talk about our one last stand against the Kings, because here for Rosea's TARINGBABI, they're about to finish their group stage venture and hopefully that they can get the most out of this one, Salvatore.
Going to be the last message here for TARINGBABI. We hope that we will see you more in the Seamasters regiment, because TARINGBABI, despite them losing every single fight, I feel like every fight was the 100% of TARINGBABI's effort being shown on screen. So TARINGBABI, there is still hope. There is still some light in you guys, that there is passion within you, that you want to nourish and nurture the CROSSFIRE scene in your region, and not just that, but within the whole Rosea region, plus the Seamasters level. So yeah, TARINGBABI, this might be the last exit, but at least it's for now. We will be seeing you guys possibly in the Regionals 2026 of a CFS. Because of that, we will be seeing a much more hungry, a much more feastier TARINGBABI, and a much more destructive one that could possibly defeat the best of the best here on Seamasters Summer. So yeah, it's only fitting that we'll be pitting TARINGBABI up against Execration as the one last message before we do head on to playoffs.
Indeed, and I hope that here for TARINGBABI, we can see them in our regionals because I do think that we have like a slot reserved for them as we move forward. So hopefully that we can see a better and renewed TARINGBABI by then. But speaking of kings, the Kingslayers became the kings in reign right now, and the number one team is here, and it seems like all of the doubters and cynics will be damned. Sneaky Frog.
Yeah, and it was kind of valid to doubt Execration, right? Especially at the start of this season, considering it was
Yes.
the first stint for MVA being the full-time IGL for the team, and then Yotib, of course, with only having had one good season so far in the CFS, he was kind of a bit of a risk, a bit of a gamble. A lot of people did ask that why didn't STS actually look at Yotib in this situation? Because I feel like STS is now in the mode that they have to win now. So, the move for revenge does make sense. And I feel like if you are going to go for a player like Yotib, it is a massive gamble. And this gamble worked out very well for the side of Execration. He fulfilled all the responsibilities that a sniper is supposed to have inside of the Execration team. And I feel like this is... As much as I did say the last few times the Execration is going to, go for the championship. But I feel like this is the one that might, send it to Paris.
That is actually a really good point. I'm pretty sure there's already a lot of people actually opening that type of conversations right now. And I do think, Sneaky Frog, that they've done their fair share of feasibility studies here with Yotib integration. And despite it being a risk, they all know that there is going to be much more of a higher percentage for this to work. And it actually did. And now, let us talk about FallX, because he is quite right now at the heart and soul leading the team to victory, Bipolar.
Yeah, I mean, number one, ranked in number 4 as in terms of headshot percentage, right, for every kill, and he has been frying all throughout. You have Fall X and as well as Siben here, but with Fall X having that kind of mindset now that he doesn't really have to gamble every time. We saw that yesterday, but we also see a Fall X that is very patient. In certain maps that they have now calls out, they have now calls where in Fall X you can just stay, you can stay put, you can give you a site for your own. We can play as 4, and that just gives a lot of ways for Folex to get a lot of opportunities, get a lot of get powers towards the side of Execration. And yeah, the heart and soul of Execration Folex is about to rise even more. I feel like there won't be stopping. There won't be a cardiac arrest for the heart of Execration anytime soon. There won't be a stopping power that can deplete this kind of player. So hopefully Folex will keep on rising, not falling.
Yeah, especially if there is a way for them to repair every single scratch or problem that they're actually encountering throughout the course of this league. And it does appear that they are having very, very steady journey in here right now. And I guess our battlefield is now ready. So let's get the party started. It is again TARINGBABI against Execration, Sneaky Frog, and Bipolar. Ratrakan na.
Thank you very much, Mochi, and as well as Salvatore, Sneaky Frog, and Bipolar on the desk for the last show or the last dance of TARINGBABI, and they'll be playing up against Execration, a team that we now consider top 1 despite Virtus Pro still on that number 1 spot, just because they have an even easier matchup for them, right? If they go out with a 2-0, well, they can easily get that number 1 spot. But Sneaky Frog, these maps are gonna be very brutal for TARINGBABI.
And it's going to be extra brutal today, right? Because we are no longer in the conversations here of week number 1, week number 2, week number 3, where there is a bit more leeway in order to, get into playoffs in terms of map points and everything. But we just so happen to be on the final day of group stage, and Execration, of course, is also vying for that number 1 seed. So, TARINGBABI, as much as we would love to say that, Execration might take it a bit easy on you guys, considering you are the Rosea team, but I feel like that is not going to be the case, especially in a map like Port. However, I did see some success from the Rosea teams, especially when it comes to the BL side of this map, especially with recent innovations. It's becoming easier to take mid, especially CA and Z here, and if they can do exactly that, then, boys like El Compe hits his shots with the sniper or maybe another player, then it could be a possibility. But at the same time, you can't really deny the oppressive force that Execration has when it comes to all of our maps, and especially if they can require just a tidbit of confidence. You can already see them pushing LB, you can already see them pushing LA, so TARINGBABI, they need to be prepared to kind of catch that.
Yeah, and especially here on Port, right? You have a team coming from Execration that has Fall X that always prioritizes LB and as well as House B on each side. But yeah, we also have
Game na,
here for
ZYK.
TARINGBABI now the comms.
Unahin nyo, ito yung super rookie. Ayos.
Narik dah, narik. Alah.
There goes the first blood going towards Fallex. But look at this, right? Mid contestation for TARINGBABI. Fallex shows himself and it's an instant headshot. Double kill possibly for Alcompe, and he confirms it. One more possibly for CBN as he hits every jump like a parkour map. Execration gets 3 kills.
Yeah, it's kind of what you expected at the start of the game, right? Just pure aggression from the side of Execration, but CBN gonna get tagged up and gonna get killed on the long side, but of course in classic ZYK fashion, he is not gonna stop going forward, especially with the USB, but he gets absolutely yoked. What happened to the rookie? He fell off in the first round.
I mean, he is a rookie, so he doesn't know what is happening for Execration. Meanwhile, Justin, this guy is not a rookie. This guy is very much well-mannered in these types of games. So Execration now still has a 1-player up, but Penjahat already good for 1. Spots up, but Justin doesn't get the flick. TARINGBABI with the first round on port.
There you go, Jimby's popping off on the camera. He's like, how the hell did we get a BL round on the map of port up against Execration? Hey, I'll tell you, man, they pushed a bit too far forward. And especially if they're not hitting as hard as this in this round. ZYK with a very nice opening shot on Alcompe. And I feel like it will be a double sniper setup. Fallex also kind of rocking it. And Execration, of course, kind of learning the lesson of the first round. Just kind of staying on back, but until when?
And we do see Fallex going time to time with this TRG, but he is pushing. But ZYK covers with Jimby falling down. Execration now still has a man advantage in terms of 2, but TARINGBABI playing very passive.
Ooh, but the cry. He's gone
Yikes.
fast. CBN will be taking him down, and it is only 2 players left alive here, Polar. And with Penjahat right on top of Bridge, and he will just get taken down by MVA. And he's now surrounded by Execration players, and Fallex, who usually doesn't rock the TRG, is going to rock it. So, yep, it's exactly what we expected here, Polar, in all honesty. And as soon as Execration, they realize, oh, we're going to lose a lot of points if we push forward here. This is, yeah, we're going to have to hang back a bit.
Look at this. Big push. Execration depletes 2 players. Alcompe with the double kill with a USB. MVA still hits the shot with 2 kills now. Triple kill for MVA. Wild Flash, he gets 3.
There it is. Everybody taking turns on the TRG. It was Fallex's turn in that last round. Now it is going to be MVA. And I have seen him more on the TRG on this Execration team more than Fallex. So it's going to be a guarantee that he can hit those shots. And still, same old for Execration. Immediate LB control and going back into Z. They're going to peek mid.
Oh, it is just an RD in the bottom side of Bridge. Actually, was thinking Execration just holding down this mid area. I mean, while CBN pushes on LA, but he did take up CA now. Proton's pushing, but doesn't expect CBN is here. There goes Alcompe's head. Decapitated. Meanwhile, Proton's with a cover. Meanwhile, flashed as well. MV gets spotted. It's a big fight on mid, but the action continues on LA as Penjahat fights the dagger on 2. That's Justin and ZYK down. It's all to Fallex, the heart and soul of Execration. A rising player that finds Bakarai on the ladder side. Bomb planted. TARINGBABI, they have numbers to play with. Fallex with 1 HP. He doesn't have anything here. Execration. I would be surprised if Fallex goes for the clutch. The action.
It's not happening.
Yeah, it's not.
It ain't happening, man. He was 1 HP. They have 3 EBRs. You kind of do the math at this point. TARINGBABI with another round on the board. Execration, kind of, you know, they don't really have a red light realistically when it comes to these fights, right? They just keep on going and going, and they're looking for any player in the map to just fist fight straight up. Look at CBN. He's found a cry.
Anyhow, he found Alcompe. We saw CBN smiling, and that just means it's a double kill, but MVA now it's a push on LB. Respawn taken for Execration. It's domination on port. The pride and glory of TARINGBABI getting depleted as the time goes by, and there goes the last kill. Execration again. It's pretty close though. It's a 1-point lead for Execration.
Yeah, and they can't really kid around too much in a map like this, in a series like this, right? Because we were talking about earlier that the round differential will actually be making a huge difference whether or not they're going to take the first seed or not. So Yeah, Execration better get their act up, similar to what we saw in that last round. But CBN will go aggressive and will only get Penjahat.
That's a good cover though for TARINGBABI. You have two players expecting now CPN pushing on LA. But Justin doesn't have a TRG here, but he can do some damage just like this. Elcompe low in HP falls down, but he still gets the kill. ZYK on the other side actually finds Jimbe with a flick. TARINGBABI slowly falling down in these kinds of situations. But Folex expects their players on LA. ZYK checking other monitors, goes for the shot, but not gonna be hitting it this time. Macry can possibly give them a round, but that's just ZYK knowing how to peek at the right time. Execration, you are just dominating on this GR side.
Yep. And ZYK taking full advantage of Folex's kill cam here. And just making sure that he has all the information on that last player. In Execration, they're going to start to go aggressive once again. They can feel the pressure mounting, and it's working.
They send up Folex. Oh, that's just a beautiful shot to kill a Penjahat and to confirm too. TARINGBABI in shambles, Sneaky. They're going for active plays, but every corner, every angle considered by Execration. Even ZYK now is on the BR side. Protons claims to make it 3. And it's a multiple inbound, but MVE stops the killing spree. Execration, man, oh man, how can you stop these kinds of pushes?
You really can't. It really is up to whether or not you hit the shot at the end of the day, right? I mean, it's very obvious angles that CBN and the rest of Execration is pushing in this one. But they don't spot CBN on the long side. They went for the double peek, and a good shot here on CBN. They clear one of the long players, but here comes ZYK.
Good reconsider, right, to go towards LA, but the nades. ZYK trying to go for peak-ups with Elcompe. He gets claimed by Justin. Now Folex enters the fight. One more tap here. It's a double for Justin.
Jesus.
And goddamn, that's a fast rotation for Execration that just didn't let TARINGBABI breathe on LA.
I think as soon as Justin arrived, he just absolutely cleared everybody on floor A, and top A was the responsibility of another player named ZYK here. And TARINGBABI, once again, they just cannot deal with the pressure. CBN, once again, attempted to go for the long push. Not going to ask for a flash, and he somehow gets Penjahat on the backside.
They do neutralize CBN, though. But Folex on the other side, it's full in control for Execration as Folex finds to ZYK jumping, but getting the kill still. And it's only one kill for TARINGBABI. And imagine, I feel like we were only here 2 minutes ago, but now it's switching the sides.
Yeah, and it's exactly what we expected in the map of Port, so I think we can't really compliment Execration too much. Let's just make fun of ZYK's score. But we're going to hear the comms.
Eh! Push yan!
Obra, boy.
Padalaw to 2 orang.
Gua narik trap.
2 lagi.
Gua. Dari 5 gua.
TARINGBABI, I want you to kill ZYK every time.
Please kill him, bro.
Yeah, please, at least kill ZYK every round. Well,
Ooh.
Folex
Damage.
testing. Good smoke, actually. But the flash not gonna be good as well. Folex just a tower defense on top A. And TARINGBABI, they're just stuck on respawns. Sneaky, they're the ones getting bombarded with nades and gunshots.
Ooh, but Macry going to try to approach the site. Immediately goes down on Bodega. But ZYK will be getting the one tap on the spawn player. Penjahat, last one left alive. What can you do with a TRG and 1 HP? Not much.
I trust, and I should not. Execration, just laughing all throughout. I miss Yotid, man. Why is ZYK here?
Look at him, man. He's 9 and 5.
Mm,
Ooh, I guess.
okay. Working. He has an HK. They continue the
Also
fights,
got
though.
it.
Elcompe finds CB. And oh! Disgusting shots coming from Elcompe to claim a triple kill. He's just giving a lot of hope for TARINGBABI, and you get 4. Elcompe. Amazing on the defense.
Put that on the For You page. NBA, the last one left alive. You know, the only sole player that can do anything realistic in this round. But look at MVA. Just letting Protons pass by. Is Protons going to look behind him, or is he going to be doing a shot? Elcompy's down. Protons is spotted. That's an easy one. An easy two, actually, for MVA. C4 is still dropped on LB, and he's just going to confidently run into the LB side. I feel like he doesn't really care realistically because he has a USP that is going to hit whether or not he's running. But McCry's here.
MVA
Dodge.
spots him now. McCry doesn't even realize he's on the platform, but the flash disables MVA for a second and stuns him to get the easy headshot. TARINGBABI playing good on this round. Denies the 9 point for Execration.
There it is, sigh of relief that Elcompy can put that highlight on his For You page without having a round loss off of it. But MVA, a nice attempt from him. But too many players on his screen. And speaking of too many players, look at Jimby.
Look at Jimby, man. They don't even know, but ZYK still finds the kill. But with the USP, he converts a double. Meanwhile, Execration going ham for ham. Both sides of the map, and Justin with a TRG as well. Every Execration player except for CBN has gotten a kill with the sniper. Elcompy did find 4 before, but can he find 3 this time? That's 1 down. 2 more left. But Justin, he feels the ninja
This
play.
is the ninja.
Oh no. Elcompy now has an opportunity with a USP, but he gets dinked. 9 HP. And they line up for them to get the kill on Elcompy. Wow, man. That was pretty close, though.
Yeah, people really underestimate how much a code can do through a wooden box, and it can do more than the usual, that's for sure. But Justin will be the one on the bottom side of bridge, is actually going to get tagged up. But Penchant, is he going to fight back? Is he going to go for the climb up? No, he's just going to be staying on A side instead. Careful, though. I said careful, gang.
He shows himself sneaky. Meanwhile, CBN showing himself as well. That's a double kill now. Triple kill for Execration. And Folex goes for a killing spree. As Jimby is left alone. Another formidable player for TARINGBABI, but he is getting laid up. 45 HP with 40 seconds to play. Execration closing out Port in a 10-3 scoreline is not impossible, but Jimby, with his heart, he can possibly go in for a clutch. Expects MVA as well. This is pretty good. But he thinks it's A. Wait a minute. It is. And they just get killed. That's Execration giving ZYK the last kill. And that's a 10-3 to close out Port.
There it is. Expectations are met in this one, not gonna lie. 10-3. I was actually expecting more of a 10-1, but Execration did have a bit more fun in the map of Port, but not too much, of course, that it is gonna affect their map score standings. Of course, once again, that is the goal and the objective here for the side of Execration, is to really secure that top spot and to really, kind of beat TARINGBABI to a pulp, because, once again, the rankings are gonna make a huge difference whether or not who you're going to be facing in the semifinals potentially.
Yeah, pretty insane, right? That Execration actually needs to play very, very clear to actually get that spot that they want on that playoffs. But TARINGBABI, man, we saw some great plays, especially for Elcompy. They didn't falter up against that CBN push on LA. They were getting like back and forth rounds with CBN just pushing, and I like that they had some buddy systems that was going on in Still Door, but still not enough. You just get, if your attention gets taken by CBN, Folex goes out on LB. If Folex gets the first frag, ZYK comes in from mid. So, and there's a lot of layers here to take out for TARINGBABI. But man, Elcompy, someone needs to look an eye on this guy, because he is also a fragger. Imagine this, Sneaky. Elcompy up against Execration, our so-called #1 spot right now, but they are still fragging. I mean, just like what you've said, right? They got 4 kills, they convert into a round win, and honestly, that's the best they could have done.
Yeah, put that on the For You page, right, if you're Elcompy. But yeah, I mean, it is a pretty good hold by him, and of course he is one of the few shining stars on the side of TARINGBABI, and I look forward to what he can offer in the rest of the Rosea games coming soon, of course, going into regional. So, I'm pretty excited for what Rosea has to offer, but up against Execration, it's not really much, man. It's the typical #1 versus #10 matchup.
Yeah, it's always Execration just giving you a dog fight, and you just have to choose on which dog you want to kill on the early rounds, but you still have 4 more that you have to deal with. And now we are going towards our panel, possibly, but we do have a little bit of time here to talk about these things. TARINGBABI, again, they will be playing up against Black Widow in Execration. We saw Execration plays very, very well last time. Hopefully, TARINGBABI gives them a little bit of a show, right? To possibly give them a little bit of an egg, especially ZYK is playing right now. But it looks like our time is done for the caster desk. It's time for our panel. It's Mochi, and as well as Salvatore.
thanks a lot to our casters, Sneaky Frog as well as Bipolar, and it does appear here that in our map, it took a lot more than what we usually need to see here in terms of effort
Yeah.
for Execration, but they still won the map regardless.
Well, that has to be like one of the performances of Execration of all time, considering that they played with ZYK, and I kind of feel like there was a chance there for Execration to finish it 10-0, even 10-1, but because probably of ZYK's contribution of the deaths accumulated inside of Port, there has to be this constraint that the Execration will not be exiting Port that cleanly compared to what Stallion did or even what Virtus Pro was able to do. But yeah, that doesn't mean anything, honestly. But yeah, Execration still played the port that we are all accustomed to and how they play it, but most of the time this was TARINGBABI trying to survive. And some of the rounds that they did survive, they played actually good. El Compe with an amazing 4K, a lot of shots here for Penjahad, and a bunch of contesting action here for Jimby, just for Execration to have a hard time. So it's not just an effort here for Execration to try and make an executing play. It is the effort here for TARINGBABI to counteract anything that they're being thrown at him. So every time that there's going to be a rush, TARINGBABI is able to react really nicely. But sometimes, actually most of the time, Mochi, Execration just had this like amazing aura where it just hasn't started yet, but apparently they know how to invite, and they already know what movement is sufficient for them to win against TARINGBABI. Look at this. They are the GR, but they're pushing court. So this just means that Execration is not even utilizing an execution. They're just playing like a player that is inside of Bootcamp Dragon, like an 8v8 Mochi, like we played last night. And this is the commotion, and this is like the gameplay that we are seeing from last night to right now embodied in C Masters level.
Yeah, basically. But at the same time, I feel like when we talk about the buddy system, right? Here for Execration, it does appear that they're like a 10 in the Moss skill, and unfortunately here for TARINGBABI, they're just 4. So I feel like that is just the main thing that we can definitely or easily compare them at of where they are currently now in terms of coordination. But here in the map of Port, you got a 10-3 in order to top it all off, and we also have really great advances as our casters mentioned here for El Compe and as well as Protons. But here for Execration, it does appear that it's just another day for them, honestly. Taking a 100 rating, super high here for Justin MVA and as well as Paul.
Yeah, the Execration trio here of Justin MVA and Fallex really proved to have this better rating. But take a look at CBN. Despite him having 11 deaths, he finished with a 100% rating on his headshot per kill. So that has to be a stat wherein, you know, you can't just have everything. You know, CBN, you were good last night. You can't be good today. You had to die a lot. But yeah, you got 100%, but, you know, you died a lot still. So that will not be counted here for CBN. That's probably set
That's
MVP
okay.
performance. But there are 3 candidates here, Bochi. Justin MVA and Fallex almost sharing the same stat line, honestly. MVA is just down 6 headshots. But still, we'll be crowning our set MVP. NT here for TARINGBABI. Kind of looks like they still had something in their bag. But Justin, he's going to be our MVP of Port. After all that commotion, Justin played calm and played better Crossfire than 4 of the members of Execration.
Again, there's just something with Justin in Port, right? I feel like we've already foreshadowed this earlier on before even our match actually started, and it does appear that he's still staying true and holding it consistent in terms of how he's been able to play comfortably here. And I do think that here with the 2.00 KD, well, Justin is definitely just doing perfectly here in the map of Port, ensuring that other than the fact that he's a player to rely on, he is also gonna be hitting those shots. And here for Execration, again, just shows that they are definitely the team to look out for. I mean, again, it did prolonged a bit more in terms of the rounds that we've been able to play, but they got the result that they wanted, and that is what matters the most.
Well played here for TARINGBABI still, but they will be having to play Black Widow for our second set, and that is a scary sight here for TARINGBABI because there is a possibility that they may lose 11 consecutive rounds since yesterday, and that might not be really good here for TARINGBABI because of what Atras did. But there is still a map here needed to be played here by Execration to fully cement their group stage as the #1 team, but let's see how will they fare.
And we'll also see if TARINGBABI would do better in our next map, and especially that is not a map that's been chosen by them, which might be pretty scary to say the least. But again, later on, we'll see if they can do better and if Execration would be able to
let's see.
do also a better scoreline in our next map. And for now, we'll be saying be right back as we head on to a quick short break. Hello everyone and welcome back here. It is still our match of TARINGBABI against Execration. We're in. Execration has been able to get that first map in a very short time, I may say. Well, this time, I wonder if there will be some better odds here for TARINGBABI, or will they be slammed into the floor once again, Salvatore?
Well, I feel like, Mochi, you answered it already. I feel like the latter part of what you said is going to be the result of Black Widow, because anything that involves Black Widow in Filipino teams, they already are the consensus winner already, because Black Widow 3v3 off sounds, 8v8s, always a start, 5v5 pub games. This is where every single foundation of pro players do start their humble beginnings. Kind of like what Yo Bib and K say are to Virtus Pro, this is what Folex and CBN is to Execration. Because Black Widow is that kind of map that every single Filipino knows how to play. And I feel like Execration, from their decade-long experience of playing international plus local regions, they know the bounds of this map. But TARINGBABI, I feel like they also have this kind of experience, but you know, experience does not mean anything, Mochi, because skill is what we put an emphasis to in the series.
Yeah, and even after how we saw TARINGBABI actually behave from yesterday's Black Widow, I don't think that is also quite of a good thing to note here, especially that everything is just a bit too shaky, and seems like the foundation is still yet to be built as the materials are a bit caught lacking. And I do think that the next map is now prepared for us and prepared for our players to unleash their best. So that is why we are gonna welcome and throw it over to our casters, Bipolar and as well as Sneaky Prawn.
Let's continue the battle of TARINGBABI and as well as Execration on Black Widow. Sneaky Frog Black Widow is a map that has been now played multiple times on the Masters stage. Plus, Execration has been one of the teams that really played every map now in our map pool. So TARINGBABI, I feel like they have a little bit here, but I feel like they're gonna bank on Penjahat trying to, get these like early frags with a sniper.
Yeah, but at the same time, there's a whole lot of factors you have to consider as well. I did say yesterday, right, about the history of Execration, and when it comes to Black Widow, of course, the Magda trio, as of now, they have had an era where they did have the best Black Widow in the world at some point, right? And you also have Folex and CBN. CBN at the time, Matses was one of the best. When he was in Matses, they had one of the best Black Widows in the entire league. And at the same time, you also have Folex, who, when in his time during Vanguard, he was one of the hardest hitters when it comes to this map. So TARINGBABI, it is not going to get any easier for them, considering the map is going to be getting a bit more pubby on the side of Execration. So they have to expect the exact same pressure that they saw from Port, that CBN is going to be constantly pushing, ZYK is going to be constantly trying to challenge you. So they're going to have to be ready.
Yeah, they have to be ready because Black Widow really runs in the blood of every player of Execration, right? Yes, we can say the same for TARINGBABI, but I feel like in terms of competitive play, it really runs towards Execration. TARINGBABI having, not really the same kind of caliber of Execration in this map, especially with the recent performances, will be very much shown in the very first round, right? But I want to see Jimby pop off, man. Jimby has been very silent from that port map because he was the one and only player that we banked on yesterday when they were playing, or the recent weeks that they played. Yes, El Compe is one hell of a player, but they have two capable HK players that can outfrag or at least get some kills in to get a positive KD, right? So if they just activate here, give Penjat a little bit of room in these long range angles, if he kills off ZYK in an instant, well, you are definitely going to be good. But we are also seeing this prevalence of like the RGs in the hands of multiple players on Execration, which can be a possibility. That Penjahat can get one sniper, but can he get the other? That's the point now. But we also saw TARINGBABI not really go for executes. Mostly it's just waiting for these players to come in, and then they'll try to go towards B side, possibly mid, and then if they go towards Terdo, you definitely know that LB players, especially here on Fall X, they'll be pushing, especially MVA. So it's a tough fight to basically think about, because you were also telling us that unpredictability is what Execration does, and you have 5 players that is just hungry for kills, like hungry for that 100 rating at the end of our stats. So if they can just slow down a bit, get some picks, and as well as go for set plays after getting some advantages, they can possibly claim 5 rounds, 6 rounds. I'm open to getting that.
Yeah, and especially knowing that some of the other rounds here for the side of TARINGBABI, right, especially the ones that they won on the map of Port, mostly it was them kind of just overwhelming a singular opponent here. So I would want to see more kind of group plays from their side, especially because in terms of head-to-head battles here on the map, if you are not named El Compi, you are not going to be killing any Execration members here. So maybe it's time to kind of corral the firepower a bit, maybe try to go for a long peak, maybe try to go for a mid peak. So, they really have to just stick together.
Yeah. Now with the comms on Black Widow.
Udah,
for
guys, tangga
Execration,
tapi ya.
TARINGBABI.
Ya udah. Lo main tangga ya udah gue yang anti buta. Nih gue di sini.
Aku di pilar ya, aku di pilar.
Gua di sini Ian ya.
Reverse pillar.
Apa? Blind spot.
Well, just like in Port, Fallex gets the first kill, Justin with his second, and Fallex with his double kill. Execration on the BL side, actually. It's just overwhelming odds for everyone, but there goes Penjahat, and again, you get one, but you can convert it onto Execration with their first round on Black Widow.
Yeah, and I like what Fallex is doing here. He's very cheeky about it. He's kind of reporting the player right after he gets the kill. So he's going to be trying to see if he can gain some stats here. But at the same time, look at Fallex on the mid side, and he will be getting a headshot on Protons. But there is what I was talking about. They need to kind of group up.
Yeah, you need to just overwhelm these players for Execration, but this time, that overwhelming players on short will be claimed by ZYK's AK, and it's a triple for Aljon. Execration now opens up a site with 2 players left. But Penjahat, if he finds MVA from the cross, but he goes towards mid, now it gives a great plan for ZYK to just go and hold this out. They might expect that he's coming in from short, given that ZYK is now going towards that spot. But Penjahat expects it possibly.
Oh, he scoped in.
Spot ZYK. Big flash, denied a little bit there, but MVA already is there, man. I feel like it's a done deal.
Yep, that's like one of the OG angles here on the side of Black Widow as well, that you can just kind of look down on that position and they can't really kill you, but they can see your name. So it kind of is annoying for the short player who's also trying to see if he can get into the A side, whether or not he can swing, as they can just pop out. Look at Jimby though, trying to go aggressive, but he immediately gets melted.
Yeah, easily claimed by Fallex now. Every side of the map except for B, almost claimed for Execration. Good shots coming in for TARINGBABI. They stop the push, but Makrai reloads. Heard by CBN, calls for Fallex, but Makrai can only get 1. Fallex is just too insane now, claiming a 6 kills in 2 rounds. Nades flying by. Fallex left alone as Penjat did find Justin. And this might just be a good round for TARINGBABI unless Fallex with 15 HP finds the kills, but looks like it will not be this time. TARINGBABI, first round.
Yeah, Jimmy gonna be happy about that, especially knowing that he immediately got traded and they got mid control because of him. So TARINGBABI now starting to see if they can get some early footing in terms of map control, especially on that mid side. But Execration now taking the clue and now assigning more than 4 players on that mid side and just leaving CBN for long.
CBN, this is a big gamble for Execration still. But they're not looking on LA. It gives CBN a kill. Now Fallex activates from short. Big flash helps him to get a double kill. Everyone from A melts down. TARINGBABI cannot even get a footing here. Only finding CBN. Jimby aware. Someone is in the backside but offers his head towards NVA. It's just too good on the BL side of Execration.
Yeah, Execration not having to really dig deep in their playbook, in all honesty, right? It was just a simple 4-1 positioning here on mid and on the long side, and just kind of using CBN as a distraction and somewhat of an entry as well for his squad in order for TARINGBABI to look the other direction. But CBN will be checking out the B side this time.
They want to go B. Execration. anticipates that TARINGBABI will put players on LA, and it just gives a free sight. CBN, Penjahat will fall down, and there's an investment. ZYK is on short, and he finds the kill.
Ooh, McCry standing in the wrong place, wrong time. And yeah, he is definitely dead. But El Compi still on the short side. And I don't think they're even anywhere close to where the C4 is. They are retaking A, but realistically, it's still in B. But MBA on the mid side will be getting shot in the head. Hold on, Jimby. Even without the courage juice, you are hitting your shots. And El Compi, the last one left alive, he's now stuck in the corner. And yeah, you're not going to escape that anytime soon, buddy.
Yeah.
4-1. Execration. Yeah, expectations.
Yeah. Even MVA, man, he's just yawning in the back lines. Justin, cold-blooded though, able to spot on multiple players. This mid-aggression though for TARINGBABI, they need to calm down. They can get some angles here to not get easily killed. Nades, not connect this time. 8 HP left for McCry though. Alex, spotted, an easy headshot. That's a good first kill for TARINGBABI.
Oh, CBN, hold on. There's a B-side still wide open.
Ooh.
Oh, but the copy's still there, man. He's covering.
Oh, 65 HP, man, but MBA is gonna go for the backstab where Protons goes for the cover. 2 players versus 3. Justin flicks up and immediately shots up McCry. Holy mother of God. Someone call an ambulance, but it's not for Execration. Give it to TARINGBABI. Justin finally clean.
And the entire time that this whole battle is going on the A side and the mid side, this guy was just standing in the middle of House B, not moving an inch. And dare I say that is just classic ZYK at the end of the day. And dare I say deserved, in all honesty. He gets shot in the head, and TARINGBABI will be getting the point.
Yes, if there was a crowd right now, everyone would be screaming for TARINGBABI. Especially that they got ZYK. Good awareness though, no? You saw players here on stage dying from the high mid side of BL, and players pushed on short. It was good for TARINGBABI. Actually, great mid rantings actually.
NBA still though. Now is the entry for his team. Captain turned entry fragger for the side of Execration. Protons will be getting taken down. Alcampe, Jimby still rounding the corner in the B door. CBN running on in, possibly into the door side, and he has entered a very good angle. Penjahat not noticing that there's a guy within those double doors, and CBN will be taken down too, and that's going to be the third. He finally gets taken down, but at the end of the day, Execration, they still won that one. 5-2, and it is looking very similar to that port map, Polar.
Yeah, it's very, very similar, except for that triple TRG, but Penjahat did find Justin. These first bloods can be very opportunistic for TARINGBABI now. They hold down LA. No one's gonna get past El Compe. But ZYK with the AK finds 2. Meanwhile, Folex has entered short. How the hell did that happen for TARINGBABI? But McCry stepping in the sideline of ZYK is not a good sign. And Jimby left alone again. In a 2v1 where the bomb is planted, the nades will fly by, connecting into him. But again, it's a revenge play. Can ZYK, with his patience, find Jimby, peeks out, and ZYK gets the kill from the death cam. Execration, finding ways to claim these sites.
Yeah, least obvious, stat padding from the side of ZYK here on his side. He's trying to keep the KD up because he's trying to rock that 6 KD by the end of this. But look at Jimby, just absolutely mauled on the short side, fully blinded. Good pop flash here by Folex. With McCry still on the stairs side. It could be the stepping stone towards his death. And there's a drop down here from Folex, and he gets a third. This kid is just too nasty. And CBN and Justin will be getting the last 2. It's just a cleanup from the side of Execration.
Man, it's a 5-point lead. Execration just holding their own and giving that Filipino treatment towards TARINGBABI. And with Justin peeking out, he does find Penjahat, but not getting the kill. Oh, Penjahat, just get out, brother! Just get out! You're already in the sideline of death himself. With 1 player down, they have LA. But look at this, Execration sends out their 2 players that are hot in their hands. It's at CBN and Folex going for bans here for TARINGBABI. But Justin kills off Protons, and there goes the last kill. CBN says you don't need to show this massacre on LA.
Yeah, just basically a highlight play for him at this point. And I wonder if this is a competition on who gets to be the top of the scoreboard, aka what we call an ace in this game. But look at that long peak. CBN will be getting El Campe, but Fallex will be getting Protons in return. Jimby in the smoke using some Filipino tricks, just crawling right through it, not noticed inside of it. And Jimby's just going to run back into base and try and see if he can kind of pick out some of the stragglers here, considering he still has the HK, 100 HP, and a full belt of utility here, and as well as Penjahat. So this is a possibility, honestly.
Fallex though slipping through past these defenses of TARINGBABI on the respawn, but NBA already posted up and go towards the boxes. Is Penjahat no? NBA? Oh, I think they heard him. But the nades, it just goes out towards Penjahat. MVA using everything to his full potential. Jimby holding down, finds Fallex through the smoke. But MVA will claim their 9th round, and that's it, man. It's just a 7-point lead for Execration.
Yeah, possibly cooked at this point, right? But we'll see the comms.
Flashing. Flashing kaliwa. Tatlo rito.
Tatlo rito, that means
3 here.
depende kung tatlo. 3 here, yes. Jimby
Oh!
will claim 1, but Justin now closes down LA. But Makrai finds the little bit of a gap there. Fallex tags Makrai, but now ZYK claiming again. The last kill gives it to the man that needs it because he needs validation. Execration will claim the 2 sets for this last matchup for TARINGBABI. Man, TARINGBABI, at least they're in smiles and they're in full joy. They know that they put up a good fight, especially with El Campe and Jimby, man. It's victorious for Execration.
Yeah, and ZYK kind of looking like the Grim Reaper that came in late for his appointment, right? Always at the right place, slightly late time for him. But at the same time, it's still a win for the side of Execration, and I feel like we really didn't doubt Execration for a second year, especially when it comes to this series, considering that the gap is still very prevalent in between the the PH region and between Rosea, but the gap is, I wouldn't say getting wider at this very moment because it really is kind of misled. This is kind of the quote unquote best team on group stage at the moment, and of course TARINGBABI having to run into them because eventuality, man, you're gonna have to face the best teams if you're in the table. And honestly, TARINGBABI, it's a very nice attempt, but still, realistically, we didn't really see nothing from you.
Yeah, it's still just, a domination for the Filipino teams, especially here on Execration side. But man, golf claps for TARINGBABI. They still put up a fight. At the end of the day, they were very much, optimistic, and they knew what they were getting into, and they prepared, but it's not just enough. Again, just like what we said before, right? Veteran only took 1 master stage for them to adapt and to at least improve even more. TARINGBABI, you still have a long way to go, but brothers, we are awaiting for your greatness here in Masters and in the entirety of Rosea. So TARINGBABI, at the end of the day, nice try, but Execration, it's a good game for them. They have now just dominated the scene on our group stage, Sneaky. That is their last matchup, I think as well. So only getting 1 loss. Imagine that, Sneaky. Execration, we talked about this from 2 matches ago, that they are still chokers, that they are somewhat iffy. They're somewhat good and bad. But now, do you think Execration can possibly get that EWC slot?
Oh, for sure. I think they're playing at the level that could be comparable to STS and VP, right? And even I would even say compared to some of our, stronger Vietnamese teams, some of like the 3rd seed or the 2nd seed of Brazil here. Can't really say too much about Team Liquid because they are looking absolutely spick and span right now, and they could be one of the favorites going into EWC. And as well as we will not forget Rock, of course, with Faye and the boys, going to be hard to figure out, especially with a team like Execration, who really does do a lot with proactivity, and they're kind of the ones who really kill that proactivity, right, as they do wait around a lot. And I would say in terms of Chinese teams, for comparison, I think they're around at the level of just right above Q9 at the very moment.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. I thought there wasn't gonna be a similar team for the Chinese people that we can compare towards Execration. But yeah, you're right. There is some. So at least there is one. So Execration, man, they're gonna get for EW spot or even that podium finish. So hopefully we do see them, still dominate or still have this kind of somewhat golden and silver road going into the playoffs. But man, Taringbabi, nice try. We'll see you next time. And for us here on the Caster Deck, we'll see you next time as well, or later on. But it's time for our panel desk. It's time for Mochi and as well as Salvatore.
Thank you so much, Bipolar, and as well as Sneaky Frog. And I do think that this is all in place as it should be, and also as predicted, especially with how they've been able to sweep their way here against Taringbabi. And again, when it comes to the maps that we have here right now, it just definitely isn't in favor for Taringbabi, unfortunately, and it's been further amplified and proven by them after Execration actually demolished them in both of our maps.
Yes, demolish. All of the words that are synonymous with demolish can be applicable to this series. So much like the words of Bipolar, we'll be seeing Taringbabi for the next time or the next iteration of C Masters or even regionals potentially, if they ever do get that slot inside of the Rosea qualifiers, because we'll be having a different approach when we hit regionals. So we are expecting a much more renowned and a much more refined energy from our Rosea brothers that will be competing with our Filipino team. So yeah, Taringbabi, NT guys, you had like a blast. I hope the experience paid off. Anything that you want to learn inside of CROSSFIRE in general. So yeah, I feel like the beating that they had, it's tough love, Mochi. Sometimes you gotta be tough on them for them to learn. I feel like Veteran and as well as Taringbabi really did learn a lot. That there's still a lot of layers that they need to go on, and there's still a lot of lessons that they need to accomplish. So anything under the radar here for Taringbabi, I feel like they have to refine their aggressiveness. They have to master any kind of play that will alter any sort of meta inside of the Philippines. Probably a better approach when it comes to facing these kinds of fights. And again, nothing much to say about Execration. We would love to see, the evolution of our Rosea teams from being overlooked in the league for always finishing 9 and 10 to possibly one of the best in the series.
Yep, and I do hope that we can see them on regionals, considering that they still have to go through our usual qualifying route in order to achieve just that, and hopefully that they won't be giving up just yet, because we've already seen some glimpses here that is actually in line here for the recipe in being able to face up against our top PH teams. It just needs a bit more, not a bit, but a lot of dedication for them to actually thicken their book in terms of our set plays into specific rounds here. But again, Taringbabi for Jinbi, I feel like we've already been able to highlight them from time and time again from being the IGL and ensuring that despite of the typhoons or tsunamis or earthquakes that Taringbabi just come across on, it is ensured that he always has that positive KD. And for the rest, they tried their best. That is something certain that we can say for this one. But here for Execration, it's just another day.
Yeah, very simple. Execration, nothing much. We should not overcomplicate our statements, Mochi, because Execration did what they were supposed to do. Dominate and execute what is needed. So, Folex, you are the man of the hour right now, and I feel like you're running out of steam for interviews because you've always been the set MVPs, and I feel like I would not be surprised if you are our match MVP later on. But these numbers do speak for itself, Mochi. Nothing really much to emphasize here other than the fact that he finished with a .69 headshot per kill. That is very nice here for Folex because he's that lethal in the headshot department. But I feel like it's still something that Execration, they did not back down. They did not take it easy against Taringbabi. What we are accustomed to for Execration, that's what we saw inside of Black Widow, which is a good touch here for Execration because they do not take it easy against any opponent, even when you are a Rosea team. So 10-3, 2 10s as we finish our first series for today with an Execration smiling from ear to ear because they have this sort of group stage venture that I feel like it is so successful and is so huge in terms of like gap from what we saw from them initially to the start of the year to what they are right now in Master Summer.
Yep, and that is why it is just right for us to also reveal who is our match MVP throughout the course of port and as well as sub-base, as we now see Justin here on our boards, 1.92 KD and a total rating of 100, staying true to what he may offer here in the lobby. And I feel like that's also the great thing to highlight here as well, Salvatore, is that during the first time that we've been able to interview MVA, the fact that he said that they respect whoever their opponents may be, and they are staying true to that one. And here for Justin, though, again, him being able to play here in port is definitely a nice sight for the eye. And always there's always something else to meet the eye, if I may say, because how traversed he is into playing every single nook and cranny wherever he may be in this one. And not to mention that here in Black Widow, the same thing happened, wherein regardless of whatever loadouts that he may be using, still the same results, which is definitely a well-played moment here for Justin. And that is why right now, I feel like we can drop the act and we may revolt back na dito, no, sa ating mother tongue, as we welcome ang ating interviewee sa ating desk right now, our match MVP, Justin, dito sa ating desk. Hello, Justin.
Hello,
welcome
po.
and congratulations. We are loving so far ang yung performance dito. It's nice and you're being more consistent than ever. So, I do think na meron tayong mga questions na manggagaling kay Salvatore. So, Salvatore, you can take it on.
Ayun, bossing, no? Eto, seeded na kayo for playoffs, at least number 1 or number 2. Pero syempre, gusto nyo talagang manalo ng number 1 talaga pagka-exit nyo ng group stage na to. So, ito na ata yung pinakamagandang exit ng Execration as a team ever since nabuo nga to, no? Finishing 8-1. Ngayon, so kung malaman, Justin, ano bang pinagkaiba ng Execration nung spring kumpara ngayon at paano nyo nasabi na ito na ata yung pinakamagandang forma ng Execration?
Siguro nung bago pa lang kami, sineseryoso lagi namin yung practice namin, tas pag tournament, sinusubukan namin gawin kung effective or hindi.
Okay.
Okay naman. Experiment pa rin naman mo. Ikaw ba?
Yeah, pretty fair. Okay, so Justin, ano kaya ang mag-iiba sa ating preparasyon moving forward dito sa ating playoffs? Kasi na-discuss dati or nasabi dati ni Paul na nakapokus kayo usually, no, sa kung paano gumagana yung decision making nyo in the team. Meron bang magbabago ngayon na pa-playoffs na tayo?
Wala naman po siguro, parang dadagdagan lang namin kasi iba yung laro sa playoffs, lahat ng team gusto manalo.
Kitang-kita naman, honestly. Gusto ko malaman din, Justin, honestly. Kasi parang with that performance, Justin, syempre, kailangan din namin makita talaga yung resulta sa playoffs na mismo. No? So, pagdating sa kumpiyansa, confident ka nga ba na makakapasok yung gantong klaseng level ng Execration papuntang EWC? O tingin nyo, ito yung level ng Execration na kaya nyong ipanalo yung champion dito sa Master Summer nang makapasok din sa EWC? Ano sa tingin mo?
Sa tingin ko, kung magiging consistent kami hanggang playoffs, kaya naming makapasok sa EWC or mag-champion dito sa CF Masters PH.
See? Alright. And
Yun lang naman sa akin.
exactly, no? And Justin, siguro, last question for you before namin ibigay ang floor para sa yung mga shoutouts, no? Do you view, or kahit hindi as a team, kahit individually, do you view Virtus Pro and as well as Team Stallions as a threat or just unequal patungo dito sa ating playoffs?
Yes po, kasi sila yung parang pinakamalakas na team sa Pilipinas. Sila yung top 2.
Okay. Alright. So, pitihan na naman tayo dito, no? All respects here from Justin. And once again, congratulations, Justin. The floor is yours. You may now shout out ang iyong mga supporters and then kung sino man.
Shoutout sa Exepam, kay Boss B, sa mga ka-team ko, sa family ko, sa Baluka family, sa Clamor, sa Labing Isa, tas sa girlfriend ko.
Yan. Ayun. Thank you so much, Justin. Maraming salamat. Congratulations. And we're highly looking forward sa inyong appearance patungo sa ating playoffs.
Thank you po. Thank you po.
Congrats.
At ayun, parang
Okay.
nasemento na naman, no? Salvatore, no? Simple lang ang mga kasagutan dito ni Justin, pero alam mong merong hawak na katotohanan, no? Patungo sa ating mga laban next week.
Nakakatakot talaga, no, Mochi, na yung mga ganyang simplehang sagot, alam mo talagang may mabigat na kayang ibira sa loob nga ng entablado, no, na pag pinaglaro talaga natin ng Execration, it's definitely world class or even just that dominating, no. Paano nga sinapit dito ng TARINGBABI, there is a possibility na ganito din nga yung maging resulta, no, pag talagang nagseryoso na ang Execration inside of that PO5 sphere. Kasi iba talaga yung, iba talaga yung setting ng best of 3 laban sa best of 5, no. Yun yung parang hindi pa natatap ng Execration kasi to start, Mochi, maalala mo, wala pang panalo sa BO5 ang Execration. Dito pa lang nila pwede masementa na yung magiging series nila is pamasok at entry papuntang EWC.
Exactly, no? Kung magkakaroon tayo ng chance to prove that the curse here na pag-choke for Execration initially no longer exists, na lalo na parang nakita na nila ang kanilang gamot na si Yotev, no? This is the best time in order to prove them just that. Pero ngayon, no, ang susunod na laban natin will be another Russia team against Fervid, veteran. And we will be hoping na meron tayong makuha mapa dito for veteran, no? Pero knowing Fervid, baka hindi talaga sila to hayaan. Pero for now, tayo ay magpe-prepara at magbabalik at sa susunod, bakbakan na uli after this few minutes.